This week on the Spotlight, I talked to the big boss of the Bulls, John Paxson, about where the team is going and how he put it together. And then Gavin Floyd, the White Sox pitcher at Sox Fest. He's ready for a big year. And we flash back to when Whitney Houston was still with us. And I talked to her at the stadium. And we have championship trivia from Salerno's this week on the Spotlight. Check out my website, benkowski.com, for my weekly article and up-to-the-minute trivia sites. It's the 25th year of the Lansing Floral Sports Spotlight. Flowers for every imaginable occasion at Lansing Floral Shop. Call them at 708-474-1212. They deliver. You've got to get to Jack Desmond's Irish Pub. They've got Benkowski Trivia Wednesday, February 6th at 7:30 p.m. $10 domestic buckets on Wednesday. Easy to reach at 10339 South Ridgeland. Get to Jack Desmond's. See you there. Want to get a haircut from a great hairstylist? Call mine, Rose Murillo, 312-726-2201. With a 30-year Southwest Side tradition, Huck Finn is open 24 hours to serve you with great breakfasts like the Becky Thatcher, soups, great lunches, 1/3 pound burgers, clubs, and much more. Dinners from seafood to steaks to pasta, great donuts, and ice creams. With 3 locations at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Stop in today. You know Huck Finn is open. Tanks is a great place to go with an outdoor beer garden, beanbag games at 124th and Western. You might find me there. They're open Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at noon. Watch Sox, Cubs, NFL. They have daily specials. A lot of good stuff and fun going on at Tanks, 124th and Western.
Hi, my name is Rose, and I've been a skilled hairstylist for over 10 years. I specialize in men's haircuts and in corrective color. Come visit me at Salon 203 at 203 North LaSalle, 312-726-2201. And while you're at it, come in and get a shoe shine and a shave. It's a great place where a man can be a man.
Las Fuentes, great Mexican cuisine at 115th and Pulaski. They have a great bar, wonderful drinks, and a great and wide and varied menu with the items you're looking at, and then simple stuff like tacos and burritos. They have it all at Las Fuentes at 115th and Pulaski. Great food awaits you at Ignat's Restaurante, 2421 South Oakley in the old little Italian neighborhood. Chicken Vesuvio and Cacciatore, steak Isabella veal Parmesan, Chicago's best time out, Chicago Magazine, 190 North, all say, get to Ignat's Restaurant, 24th and Oakley. We're back on the Spotlight. We're talking Chicago Bulls, and we took a little different tack today. Certainly the players are excellent, and we want to talk to them as much as we can. But one of the reasons they're excellent and that they mesh in the group that they're with is the selection of the player and the coaching of the player. One of the guys that we talked to is the big boss, John Paxson. I remember him when he came to the Bulls in 1985, and he's been with the club in some capacity ever since. That's a long time, 28 years with one team. And speaking of milestones, 25 years with this show, that'll be a topic when we talk to John. So with no further ado, let's take you to the head of basketball for your Chicago Bulls, John Paxson. You know, I was talking to a few people about this today, and the way your team has come together, it's really a testimony to your selection of players and the staff, and just a lot of good things, because this team could have been in disarray for a few months with all the changes you made.
Well, yeah, but like you said, it starts with Tom and how he approaches every day and how he approaches, it starts on the practice floor, and he had to get guys to understand what he was all about. But we were good last year when we didn't have Derek, for the most part, and still battled. So, the one thing that you always worry about anytime you make a lot of changes is how that team's going to come together. But Tom is so defined in how he goes about his business that I think it's easy for guys to buy in and know what's expected of them.
Well, that's a good compliment and accurate. But I also think too that in the player acquisition and player analysis area, you guys did a great job, because I've covered the NBA before you even came to the Bulls, and you get some talented people who don't have the right personalities, and it's a mess. And you were able to find the right talent and the personality.
Yeah, well, we knew that one of the things we knew was that Jimmy Butler was going to have to play a larger role for us this year after having not played much last year, and he's really been terrific. But then we went out and we knew we needed someone to replace Kyle Korver. We knew we weren't going to find that type of shooter, but Bellinelli fit the bill in terms of being able to handle the ball and do things with the ball more than Kyle did. And the one thing we knew, especially with Derek being out, was that we were going to have to find somebody who could score. And Nate's been able to do that for us. And Nate's been, he has his moments where he can hurt you, but he's won a lot of games for us with his ability to put points on the board quickly. And and he's bought in. So it's always fun when you do have to make changes, even though you don't necessarily want to, that to see how that team comes together and how they end up playing. And I think long term, when we look at this now, when Derek does come back, we obviously don't know when, but when he does come back, the fact that this group has played together and under different circumstances, Kirk Heinrich will play a natural role where he comes off the bench, he can play with Derek some. I think there'll be a lot of good things that come of it.
Maybe the number one thing is people won't necessarily back off and look for Derek to score, because they've been in some more pressure-packed opportunities than they might have been otherwise.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a guy like Derek out for such an extended period of time, that these other guys, they haven't been looking over their shoulder all year waiting for him to come back. They've realized they've had to produce. And we've mentioned some guys that when the shot's there, they have to take it. Jimmy Butler's a perfect example. I think that's one of the big things with him. Last year when he got minutes, he was somewhat tentative when he was open to look at the basket. He's not tentative now. And that will help him long term, and then with that it'll help us. So, but we still have a long way to go, and it's a grind. We've had some very ugly games, as everybody knows, but our guys do play hard and they compete every night.
To wrap up, in your ability to evaluate talent, does some of that come from the unique scenario you were in with having to play with a guy like Michael, who needed the ball as much as he did, and you were able to, sublet your ego but still be an important part of the game?
I think anytime you have a great players on your team, you're always looking for the guys that complement them. And the one thing that Gar and I have tried to do in our time here is, we try not to miss on character guys, because if you have good people that are willing to work and buy into a team, then generally you're going to have some success. But on top of that, the skill level has to be a complement to your better players, and I think we've been able to do that for the most part. Now we have our deficiencies, and we wish we were a better shooting team at times, from the three-point line especially. But for the most part, our guys have lived up to what we thought they would be.
Well, as I approach the 25th year of...
Congratulations on 25 years. So are you going to plan on 25 more? Or?
Maybe 15.
Okay, good. Well, congratulations.
And you remain the only player in history to go to a fan's factory and ring the doorbell and go on a tour, and that you still did make that guy's life.
That's good. That was a long time ago, but you and I have persevered. We've hung around a while.
Yes. Thank you, Pax. Appreciate it. You've got to get to Lansing Floral Shop. Open at 8 a.m. daily. Besides a great array of live flowers, they have custom silks, Bridgewater candles. They want you to plan your parties early at a wide delivery area. They're located at 3420 Ridge Road in Lansing, or you can call 708-474-1212. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, anniversaries, and guys, try the No Reason flower. Believe me, it works. Lansing Floral Shop. Give them a call, 708-474-1212. You've got to get to Kelly's because they have Benkowski Trivia Friday, February 1st, and again on the 15th at 8 p.m. Come out and play, bring friends. It's at 44th and Wallace. You can get there real easy. It's over there by Sox Park. Friday, February 1st, Friday, February 15th at 8 p.m. My trivia game at Kelly's Tavern. Fun stuff, fun people. See you there. McKell's Inn, where good friends meet for a cool one. 3259 West 111th Street, just west of Kedzie. Tuesdays and Thursdays they have $1.50 domestic bottles. $4 Guinness every day. Great people, great staff, and trivia switches to Monday nights starting January 14th. You don't want to miss that. At McKell's Inn, 3259 West 111th Street in Mount Greenwood. Bring your car to Quick Stop Muffler and Brake at 95th and Pulaski, and they'll fix it right. They also do shocks and struts, free estimates. Call them at 708-423-3700. They're very thorough in their work, and they have very competitive pricing. Quick Stop Muffler and Brake, 95th and Pulaski. If you're smart, you're going to go to Amelia's Bar and Grill at 46th and Halsted. They're open for lunch and dinner daily, private parties and catering. They have a very unique mixture of fine dining and Mexican specialties. It's all designed by Chef Eusebio Garcia. See his handiwork and taste it too at Amelia's Bar and Grill, 46th and Halsted. Go there. We're back on the spotlight, and Gavin Floyd is with us seconds ago. So without any further ado, let's talk to the big right-hander who excels with the curveball. And I quiz him a little bit about a sequence of pitches and what happens when the curveball's not exactly where he wants it to be. And he'll tell you in a matter of seconds. Hey, Gavin.
How are you?
Real good.
Good.
Want to talk a little bit about the upcoming season. I don't think there's a lot of changes on your pitching staff, although the possible return of Danks. And you look very strong, frankly. I'm pretty impressed with how your pitching staff looks. It looks like a pitching staff that can make your team a contender.
Yeah, we had a great pitching staff last year, even when John was out of it, and some young guys that pitched really well in the bullpen and even the starting rotation. So to have John back is a huge plus, and I think it's going to be great. We're going to build off last year, and I think we're going to have a fun, exciting year.
Robin talked about trying to block out the last couple of weeks and focus on the good stuff. Is that any harder for a player to think about? We were in first so long, didn't quite get to the promised land, or are you able to do that too?
Trying to understand the question.
Well, you were in first place a long time and didn't make the playoffs.
Understand that what Robin thought?
Yeah, that he's trying to block out the mini blip, if you will.
Yeah, because we were in first place for a long time. We had a successful year. Even at the end, we have a successful year. We didn't make the playoffs, but we had a real good year, I think. But I think guys that we were, experienced that you learn from your failures and the things that go, not the way you wanted to go, and you learn from it. And I think we can only build off of that, and like I said, having John back and some other key guys that are going to fill in and do well. We do have a tough division, but I think we're even better than last year, so I think it'll be a fun and exciting year.
How about yourself personally? What kind of things did you pick up? What kind of nuances, extra pitch, being able to get over some rough spots within the game? What were the lessons you learned in 2012?
There's always lots of them. But I feel like you always build off of every year, and you feel like you get mature and more experienced, obviously, and definitely learned a lot about myself last year, and just really built off the year before. And I felt like there were some rough patches, but I think there were some really good patches too. So now it's just a matter of, like you said, like staying, remembering the good parts, and trying to stay as consistent as you can. But there were some definitely mechanical issues a little bit, not issues, but things I changed, and feel really good. I finished strong, so I felt like those changes helped out a lot.
When your curveball's on, it seems like everything falls into place for you, and you always hear the announcers, or often pitchers, say, the measure of a guy is when he doesn't have his best stuff. Now, on days when your curveball's not where it needs to be, do you feel better about how you place your fastball, or maybe rely on some other off-speed stuff to get by?
I think it really varies time to time. Sometimes your curveball's off and you really do have really good fastball command. There's sometimes where your slider's really on. those are the times that you really have to learn how to pitch and battle, especially when you only have a couple pitches working. But when you have all of them, it's a little easier, and you're actually putting yourself have more of a chance to be successful. But it really does vary. Sometimes fastball, sometimes slider, sometimes changeups. They come out but you got to keep on throwing those curveballs because eventually you'll get it.
Yeah.
You might not be there early on, but later, 5th, 6th inning, it might all of a sudden click, and you're throwing all these that they haven't seen. So.
Well, that brings up a point now. You're going from AJ, who's been around forever, and you probably shook off seldom, to Tyler, who is maybe younger than you, and are you leading the way on the calls for him, or do you find yourself in tune with him already?
Well, I've had several experiences with Tyler, and I love throwing to him. He receives the ball really well, has a good arm, has great communication with the pitchers, and I think that's important because then you really can be on the same page and trust the catcher, because that's the ultimate goal, is to really have complete trust in the catcher, and if the communication's not there, it's tough. So I think Tyler, he loves to learn, loves to get to know the pitchers, and knows their strengths very well. So I think he calls the game really very well, and he's a great receiver. So I think I'm excited to throw to him, and I think a lot of these all these pitchers are too.
If there was one single thing that makes you the most excited about 2013, what do you think it would be?
Just the start of it right now. I mean, the anticipation of spring training, getting going, getting in with the guys. Can't look too far ahead. Look at today, and it's fun just to be here and be a part of this, seeing the teammates and seeing our teammates and you guys, and get your blood going a little bit, get excited for the season.
That's a good point. Let's not get too far ahead.
With a 30-year Southwest Side tradition, Huck Finn is open 24 hours to serve you with great breakfasts like the Becky Thatcher, soups, great lunches, 1/3 pound burgers, clubs, and much more. Dinners from seafood to steaks to pasta, great donuts, and ice creams. With 3 locations at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Stop in today. Huck Finn is open.
Demitas Coffee Shop, a place I like to go. Right in Little Italy at 1066 West Taylor. Breakfast, lunches, mochas, lattes, cappuccino, tea, baked goods, superb French toast, a fabulous chicken salad. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. You got to get to Demitas Coffee Shop on Taylor. I'm thinking you should get to Little Frank's Pizzeria and Bar like I do at 79th and Narragansett. On Thursday, $1.50 Miller and Old Style. Trivia on Thursday, January 31st at 8 p.m. $12 large pizza and pitcher all day, every day at Little Frank's Pizzeria and Bar, 79th and Narragansett. Easy to get to. See you over by there. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie does tune-ups, transmission, AC service, engine repair, tire repair, oil changes, and emission system repair. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they've done a great job for me. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie. Ignatz Ristorante at 2421 South Oakley has my trivia game in addition to great food. Friday, February 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Topics include music, movies, TV, things like maybe Chicago streets, sports, and more. The first game there was a big success. Hope to see you at Ignatz on Oakley. Welcome to the 402nd edition of the Sports Spotlight. We're going back in history to show 106. Whitney Houston here talks about Michael Jordan playing her music.
It's great. I mean, that's really great. I love him for playing it, but I know when he plays it, I know what he means. I know what it feels like. I know what one moment in time is, so I can definitely identify with him playing that song.
From the enchanting Whitney Houston to Sammy Sosa as a White Sox, check out that goofy graphic that used to be their logo.
For the pitching, being, some score, wrong score, do it again, like you say, everybody we got one, everybody want to do something, in the team, because that's why the team win right now.
Symbolic of the movement in baseball, the excessive movement, Sean Dunston, seen here as a Cub, now with San Francisco. Will Clark is gone from the Giants. In a rematch of the playoffs, Will Clark of San Francisco invaded town and talked about a variety of subjects, including his intensity.
Reading the article about you and your family this week, I know you stated that one year you put up some good power numbers, another year you established yourself as an RBI man, another year you hit for batting average. What would be a 1990 batting goal for Will Clark?
Holy cow, I got a lot of them, but I don't tell anybody in the media. And the reason being because if it comes out on TV, it comes out in the paper, it come back to haunt you some sort of way or another.
Staying in 1989, the natural was Ken Griffey Jr., and of course, in view of his new contract, interesting to hear how he talked about his dad growing up with the Cincinnati Reds.
As far as the Reds, it was none. I just go out and play, and he'll say something like, "How'd you do?" I said, "Well, I messed up, and I did this." He'll say, "Well, this is what you have to do in certain situations," and that's it. And the Reds, if we wanted to go to the game, we would. But if not, if we didn't want to, my mom would say, "Hey, stay home." It wasn't really an issue to go to every game.
Featured players in those shows of that era, Tony La Russa, Greg Maddux, Carlton Fisk, all changing addresses, as was Lee Smith. Describe, Lee, the feelings that you have pitching against your former Cub teammates.
Well, it's really a strange feeling, you know, but, you know, it's a job we got to do. You know, they out there to try to get hits, and it's my job to try and get them out. And luckily yesterday I got the guys, you know, and I'd rather not see Andre in that situation again, not taking anything away from Grace or any of the other guys. You know, just that I've seen too many last-inning heroics from Andre Dawson, even Montreal and here the time that I played with him. But it was a good feeling, you know, to get a chance to get out there and throw. More so from my arm standpoint, because I had a strained tricep, and that was on my mind a little bit, and more so to get out there and throw again, because I haven't pitched in a game in 8 days, and that was really a good feeling.
Cito Gaston, who some of you may remember as a San Diego Padres slugger, really was the guiding force behind Toronto's great teams.
In your major league experience, how much of the playing days do you call upon when you take some of the youngsters aside and say, look, a bad experience today doesn't mean anything, put it out of your mind?
Well, I try to run this club, and hopefully they will kind of take games like I do. Well, you know, once the ball game's over, whether you win or lose, you can't go back and change anything. So you can't take that into the next day. If you win a ball game, enjoy it. Have some fun with it. If you lose a ball game, think about any mistakes that you might have made, and just forget about it, because you can't bring it to the next day. If you take it into the next day, you're going to make those same mistakes again. So hopefully the young guys or guys on this team understand what I'm trying to do, and I really believe in that myself.
Back in 1989, Dominic Hasek was a Blackhawk. Not enough room in town for he and Ed Belfour. They might be the best two in the league, at least at one time.
Has he tried any of the Bohemian restaurants in Berwyn?
Jestli si zkoušeli ještě některé restauraci v Berwinu český. Jsme navštívili pár restaurací, no, ale že teďka chodím jako s klukama, že aspoň se jako oživuju tu angličtinu, že tak. We were visiting about 8 of them. We are short about 2 more, but he tried to get used to also American food and hang around with the guys so he can improve his English. That's what his next step, because he said he cannot have comfortable feeling if you don't speak English, and that's what they try.
All right, good luck. Thank you very much, and we close out the segment with Nancy Faust playing the organ at the old Chicago Stadium for Blackhawks games. And we'll be back with more on the Spotlight Trivia right after these important messages.
I eat on the pasta twice just...
Salerno's Restaurant and Pizzeria at Grand and Racine is the place to go before United Center Pavilion, Bulls, Hawks, Cubs, and Sox too. Dine in or carry out with great family recipes, including homemade pastas, steaks, seafood, a great fun bar area. Meet people, have a tremendous time. At Salerno's Restaurant and Pizzeria, Grand and Racine, you'll find a great variety of foods for you to enjoy at Salerno's. At the Office Sports Bar and Grills, right there for you. 4901 Cal Sag Road in Crestwood, right near 132nd and Cicero. They got 15 appetizers, flatbreads, burgers, wraps, paninis, 20 sandwiches, soups, and salads at the Office, right near 132nd and Cicero in Crestwood. Swanson's Deli, Beverly Ritz Catering. Homemade soups and salads, fresh sandwiches, eat in or take out. daily specials for lunch or dinner, and home of the famous cheese ball at 2414 West 103rd Street at Western. You've got to get there, and their catering serves any size. Swanson's Deli, Beverly Ritz Catering, 2414 West 103rd Street at Western in Chicago. Reggie's is a great place with tons of music, interesting people and staff, great food and drink at 21st and State. And amongst the cool things they have, Benkowski Trivia. And I'll be back Monday, February 4th. Note the time change, 6 p.m. See you then. We're back in the spotlight, and we're showing you highlights at Salerno's from the 2012 Benkowski title match. And we're going to do questions, 60s and 70s movies as the topic. And J&B will be playing them. So without any further ado, here's J&B.
Question number 1. The movie Annie Hall was autobiographical in nature, about Woody Allen's life. Annie Hall was actually who in real life? Five seconds.
Mia Farrow.
They said Mia Farrow. It was Diane Keaton, playing herself. All right, you still have 2 more tries to take the lead in this game. We continue. In A Clockwork Orange, he played Dim. Five seconds. Going. It was Warren Clark. And finally, for 500, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, she played Ronnie Neary. Terry Garr is right. So J&B gets 1. They move to 1730. It's a good score. All right, 2 teams in the books. We continue. Nice round of applause. Playing TV of the 2000s. Let's hear it for the Jacks All-Stars. Ranking the TV seasons in about 100 positions. American Idol, Survivor, and CSI dominated the top 17 positions of most watched seasons. But a sitcom from 2001-2002 snuck in as the 18th highest watched. Name that sitcom from 01-02.
They guessed Everybody Loves Raymond. The correct answer was Friends, and we'll have more from Trivia Championship next week here on the Spotlight. This week's show has been brought to you by the Lansing Floral Shop. Call for your flowers at 708-474-1212. Huck Finn, a great wide-ranging menu, along with donuts and ice cream. Open 24 hours at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Imprint Graphics, leaders in booklet, perfect bound saddle stitch, very competitive pricing. Call 708-396-1010.